Hey, this is Austin from OK Tool Co. And today we're going to work on an axe. This is a Plumb boy's axe, weighs about 2.25 pounds, and we're going to try and restore this thing. Not a lot of pitting, a little bit of rust, but nothing too serious. So the first thing we're going to do is soak it in some distilled white vinegar. This does a similar job to like Evapo-Rust. It takes a little longer, but it eats away all the rust without really getting into the steel. This is after about 10 days. It's kind of interesting. All of the bubbles kind of float up from the axe and form this perfect imprint of the axe. It's almost like a foam or a cake, and it's just all the rust. It's kind of gross, but kind of cool all at the same time. Kind of weird. But as I pull this out, you can kind of see all of the rust is pretty much gone. So it does a lot of work for you just sitting in a bowl for a couple days. So first thing we're going to do is just wipe it up with some paper towels and get a good look at what we're actually seeing. So normally I don't leave axe heads in the vinegar this long, and truthfully I was a little bit worried about it. I hadn't gone this far before, but I was really pleased with the results. The axe head came out. I mean, it's got a little bit of gunk on it, but I mean the stamps were untouched. It did a great job of taking all of the rust off. So we're going to clean up the rest of it just with a brass wire wheel. And just a few minutes on this will leave us with a really nice, clean surface so we can really get a good look at where we're at with this axe and see what else needs attention. So this is our first real look at what we're dealing with on the axe. We do have a little bit of pitting, but it's pretty shallow and it's pretty consistent. The mushrooming on the pole is very bad. So this is always a tough decision whenever we're restoring an axe on whether or not we're going to keep the mushrooming on the pole and leave the steel intact that was original to the axe, or if we want to clean it up and try to get it as close to what it looked like whenever it was first on the shelf. So after we're done cleaning up the mushrooming, I like the look and the profile of the axe, but I wasn't a huge fan of the way that the cleaned up mushrooming looked against the rest of the pitting. So I decided I was going to go for more of a two-tone look. So we'll clean up the pole and the top and bottom of the axe. So we'll have nice clean steel with good grind lines there. But we'll leave all of the pitting on the cheeks. So I think that'll look good when we're all done. Here we're going to clean up the axe head with some acetone. This will get all the dirts or oils or anything that we've got on it all cleaned up and off. Anytime we're going to blue an axe, the cleaner the surface is, the more consistent your bluing is going to be. I've used a couple different products before, and I really like this Birchwood KC Super Blue. It works very fast, and if you keep your brush moving and you use a lot of product, I've found that it's a really consistent color that's put on the cheeks. And the biggest draw for me, though, is just how quickly it works. I can usually get away with just 1 or 2 coats of this stuff, and it gets it to the right deep, dark gray or dark blue that I'm looking for. But now that we have a nice even coat on the cheeks, we're going to let it sit for just a minute. And then we're going to go and we're going to neutralize it in a bucket of water. You just dunk it, rinse it off really good. And then you hit it with some, this is quadruple aught steel wool. And this just helps even out the surface. And we're left with some pretty good results here. There is absolutely no edge on this axe, so this is going to be a good example of how I put an edge on an axe freehand. I don't really like using jigs because to me they just kind of get in the way. I start with a worn out 40 grit belt, and that'll help establish my bevels. I'm not taking away a lot of material. Once I'm happy with where the bevels are at, I'll switch to a brand new 40 grit belt, and that'll really hog off a lot of material and help me work quickly. When I'm pretty close to the edge, I'd say probably about 1 millimeter away, just 1 millimeter of thickness on the edge, I'll switch to a high grit belt, and then instead of using that backer plate, I'll go up just above the backer plate where I've got a little bit of slack in the belt, and this will help transition from the bevel to the cheek of the axe. And when you've got a really smooth transition there, you get a really clean cut when you're using the axe. So a lot of guys can put a sharp edge on an axe, but if you don't have a good transition from your bevel to your cheek, you'll notice it whenever you're trying to use the axe. After we're done on the grinder, we're going to move over and strop it. I've got a piece of leather that's nailed down to my workbench here, and I'll use a white rouge. And this is just trying to remove any burr that I've got left on the edge from the grinder. So it doesn't take a whole lot, just a couple passes, and we're left with an absolute razor sharp edge. So our last step here is just a little bit of boiled linseed oil. It's going to do a couple different things. Its main purpose is protection. A light film of oil on any carbon steel tool is going to give a little bit of weather protection, a little bit of humidity protection to keep the tool from rusting. So normally I see the flaws. Normally I'm looking for ways to improve, and I get caught up in those things. But something about this axe head, I love it. I love the pitting. I love the two-tone. But of course, I really want to know what you guys think about it. Tell me in the comments down below what you guys really like or don't like about this axe. My part here is done. I'm going to put a link in the description below, but go check out Rob at Old Shovel. I'm sending this axe head to him, and he is going to handle it. I have heard what he's going to do, and I'm pretty excited to see it. So go check it out. Go see what this axe looks like when it's all said and done.